Evening, one and all.
Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, celebrating 76 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemoration. Today is commemorated as World Leprosy Day on January 28 this year, which is observed on last Sunday in January annually, aims to create an awareness about a disease that many people believe to be extinct, especially in developed countries. Leprosy, also called Hansen's disease, which is an infectious disease caused by a specific type of bacteria that targets the human body's nervous system. It generally affects the hands, feet, and face, is believed to spread through extensive exposure to bacteria causing it. The day aims to not only educate people about the disease, but also to draw attention to those affected by it. Leprosy is a long-term bacterial infection that can lead to permanent and irreparable damage to the nerves, respiratory tract, skin, and eyes. The condition causes loss of sensation in the affected areas. Often the afflicted person cannot sense pain in the affected area, leading to neglect towards injuries or unnoticed wounds and resulting in loss of limbs. An infected person may experience other indications such as muscle weakness, poor eyesight. The disease is also known as Hansen's disease, named after Norwegian doctor Gerard Henrik Armeur Hansen, who is known for identifying the bacteria that causes leprosy. To create awareness about the disease, especially its socio-economic ramifications, French philanthropist Raoul Follereau established World Leprosy Day in 1954. In India, the day is observed on January 30, the death anniversary of the Apostle of World Peace, Mahatma Gandhi, to respect his unflinching compassion for people afflicted with the disease. Although easily curable today and rare in developed countries such as the US, the disease is surrounded by stigma. This is true especially in India, Brazil, and Indonesia, where the maximum number of cases are found. Infected people are often discriminated against and ostracized, leading to lack of access to appropriate medical care, treatment, and even denial of basic human rights. Since leprosy massively affects the underprivileged sections of the world's population, the world is beginning to conveniently forget about the disease. World Leprosy Day aims to increase the public awareness of leprosy to enable people to seek treatment and live a life of dignity. Gerhard Henrik Emmerer Hansen, a Norwegian physician, identifies the bacterium Mycobacterium leprae as the principal bacteria that causes leprosy in 1873. French philanthropist Raoul Folero establishes World Leprosy Day to be observed on the last Sunday of January annually to increase public awareness about the disease in 1954 for the first time. The World Health Organization states that over 2.08 lakh cases of leprosy were reported across more than 120 countries, with the maximum emerging from India, Brazil, and Indonesia since 2018. This year, the theme for the World Leprosy Day is Beat Leprosy, End Stigma, and Advocate for Mental Well Being. Internationally, World Leprosy Day is observed every year on last Sunday in January. In India, it is also observed on January 30 to commemorate the death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Although the disease has not been eradicated, it is rare. The CDC reports that US sees approximately 150 to 200 new cases every year. Casual contact with an infected person, shaking hands, hugging, or sitting next to them does not spread leprosy. As a matter of fact, it is difficult to catch, and a person gets infected only with extensive contact with infected people for a prolonged period. Visit a leprosy center and speak to the patients there. Often they feel neglected and ostracized by society, making them feel a part of the beautiful world. You'll surely rack up blessings this way. Organize campaigns so that people with more information about the disease spread the message that leprosy can be cured and people affected by it should be taken care of. Globally, an estimated 2 or 3 million people live with disabilities caused due to the disease. In 2019, nearly 15,000 children were diagnosed with Hansen's disease afflicted by leprosy. In 2018, cases were reported from more than 120 countries, with 80% of them emanating from India, Brazil, and Indonesia collectively. The number of new cases in the US is roughly 150 to 200 cases in a year, as reported by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. California, Arkansas, New York, Florida, Hawaii, Louisiana, and Texas are reported the most cases in the US in 2018, acting as hotspots for leprosy in America. The social discrimination of those who are infected has to be weeded out to allow patients to live with dignity. It is crucial to spread awareness about leprosy for this reason. World Leprosy Day provides a platform for creating an inclusive society that treats the afflicted with respect they deserve. Leprosy can be cured with antibiotic treatment. However, most patients come from impoverished backgrounds and do not have the means to access treatment. Also, the stigma attached to the condition dissuades people from seeking treatment for disease. This day helps make people aware that leprosy can be treated. There are too many misconceptions harbored by society about leprosy. Many people feel that the digits of a person affected by leprosy just fall off one day. Others feel that the disease is transmitted by sitting next to or shaking hands with the infected person. These myths can be busted on World Leprosy Day so that people living with leprosy receive an equal opportunity to shine in the society. Today is also commemorated as International Reducing CO2 Emissions Day internationally on January 28 each year. Since global warming affects, the globe reducing CO2 emissions to control this effect should be global event, which brings us to the International Reducing CO2 Emissions Day held on Jan 28 each year. Since CO2 is such a big contributor to climate change, this event intends to change the way countries around the world operate. Over time, this day seeks to aid world's transition to a cleaner environment. Since ancient times, people have suspected that the climate change could change drastically. Aristotle pupil Theophrastus once wrote about lands becoming more susceptible to freezing after the marshes there had been drained. He thought lands became warmer when trees were cut because the sun could reach there. A 1088 book by the Chinese scholar and statesman Shen Kyo theorized that the climate change could occur over time because the author found ancient bamboo fossils buried under cold, arid land when bamboos typically grow in warmer, wetter regions. Over the centuries, people saw urbanization create obvious climate changes. Rainfall patterns changed, the weather fluctuated, even the natural calamities rise. However, no one, not even scientists, believed that the humans could influence the planet's climate. By the 19th century, however, the world suspected the existence of ice ages and other natural climate changes. Around the same century, we identified the greenhouse gas effect, and the world realized how much emissions can really affect the climate. By the 1990s, multiple research streams has formed to study climate change, emissions, and other effect on the planet. But how on earth did we arrive at such a state that release of every little bit of energy needs to be scrutinized for its potential impact on the planet? After all, carbon dioxide has been present since the earth was formed. The answer is simple. As scientists began to study the emissions humans created, they realized one thing: more humans equal more emissions, and the more emissions we put out into the world, the more we negatively affect our planet. Economic growth, industrialization, and other growth factors saw emissions climb at an unprecedented rate. After 1950, the world shifted. Countries saw fortune rise, and many of these emerging economies also added to the global emissions. Climate change research after the 1990s has made a significant contribution to the global response to climate change to the point that we know exactly what to do to mitigate the worst effects. The aim is to raise public awareness to the point where governments will support anti emission measures. Data shows globally CO2 emitted is 150 times higher than emissions in 1850. The developed and developing worlds both contribute to the cause, with the top five countries being China, the United States, India, Russia, and Japan since 2011. On December 12, 196 countries officially adopted legally binding treaty in Paris to collectively limit global warming in 2015. Climate activist Thunberg makes a double crossing of the Atlantic Ocean to attend two climate conferences. She chooses sailing in place of flying as it has the smallest carbon footprint. In 2019, on January 28, General Motors announces they will phase out all gasoline and diesel powered passenger cars, increasing their production of electric cars. Other major vehicle companies like Ford and Volvo follow suit with similar promises in 2021, reducing emissions, the motorway. Globally, industries and governments are introducing multiple measures to control emissions. They include switching to fuel efficient practices using renewable energy, recycling, and more. The lowest CO2 emissions were present around 500 million years ago at around 4,000 parts per million, and then during a period in the last 2 million years when the levels were dropped to around 180 parts per million. James E. Hansen, an American adjunct professor, is credited with talking about subsequently raising broad awareness of global warming. Find out how CO2 emissions are caused and why they are labeled as harmful. Share what you learn with your friends and family. Check out resources online and offline. Figure out simple ways to reduce CO2 emissions. It takes a village, in our case, an entire planet. You can start with your immediate community, share your knowledge on CO2 and its effects, and induct more people into the climate change cause. Lower tire pressures means they work harder to take you places, waste gas, and increase emissions. So keep your tires inflated. Supporting the local economy and buying goods that didn't fly a few miles to get to you is great and healthy way to reduce emissions. Be vocal about local. You reflect more sunlight this way, your home is cooler and you lose you use less electricity on a hot day by painting your roof white. Doing a full load of laundry in cold water means you are using less energy for heating and are reducing your carbon footprint. So, wash clothes in cold water. Instead of throwing things away, try out fun do it yourself upcycling projects or recycling for regular household items. You can also try giving them away or donating them to the needy instead of consigning them to a landfill. Recycle and repurpose. Humans are significant, and this is never more evident than we consider the consequences of our actions on the planet. We recognize our impact on the planet. We receive a nudge to action. Our home needs us, and this is our chance to make a difference. We have the power to reduce emissions. In doing so, impact our planet's future. Here, one more day that we can use to encourage others to join our cause. We need everyone to actively work towards lowering CO2 emissions, and International Reducing CO2 Emissions Day is a great way to begin. Today is also commemorated as Global Community Engagement Day on January 28th every year to celebrate humanity's greatest efforts to make this world a better place. Community engagement is a process of engaging with community groups to address and solve issues that impact well-being of the community. Together, we can do so much, which is why community engagement is so important. This is one of the latest officially recognized global events. The first celebration was on January 28, 2018. And it aims to create awareness of individuals working collaboratively to address ideas and issues within the community, making this world a much better place for everyone. The story behind the inception and birth control of Global Community Engagement Day is an interesting. The Global Community Engagement Day was started by the organization Engage to Act, is one of the fastest growing networks of community engagement practitioners from Australia and across the world. According to their LinkedIn page, Engage to Act is a collective of individuals committed to progressing high quality community engagement practice. It started with a small group in Southern Australia. A former board member of the organization, Andrew Colson, thought if other silly things like donuts and socks have their special commemoration dates, community engagement deserved a special day. So he made a whole team hop on this idea. In December 2017, the Engage to Act team members used their social media to start a poll. They asked their social media followers who the most inspiring community engagement leader was they had met in their lives. Wendy Saris, Wendy, Wendy Sarkisian was the top voted person in that poll, and they made her birthday, January 28th, the Global Community Engagement Day. Today, let's thank all the awesome community groups, volunteers, and patrons that we have come across over the years that make our community a great place to be. Cheers to all those who work hard to keep our communities healthy and happy through engagement. Andrew Colson, together with other like-minded people, starts an organization called Engage to Act in 2013. The Engage to Act team posts a poll on social media to find out who their followers think the most inspiring community engagement leader is in 2017. The first Global Community Engagement Day is celebrated on the birthday of Wendy Sarkisian, the first Global Community Engagement Day in 2018. The Global Community Engagement Day theme is Engaging Children for Their Future in 2021. Each year, there is a different theme for celebrating this day. In 2021, the theme was Engaging Children for Future. Global Community Engagement Day is celebrated worldwide and fosters community engagement to make this world a better place to live. You don't need any special skills for helping the community, but a little bit of listening, analyzing, empathy, and member support skills go a long way. Let's all celebrate the day with our community, organize casual meetings, brunch, or a game event. Some of the co-workers and friends may not know about this day. Try to get word and its importance. Come up with a list of things that will be better your community, then contribute to that cause. Community engagement gains your trust while it is especially important if you are planning something good for its future. Regular community engagement helps you get better results. Engaging with your community makes them more satisfied with the performance of organizations, business, and individuals. Communities are more likely to accept views and recommendations if they are engaged with regularly. Community engagement is the ultimate bridge to connect to the groups that feel ignored. Creating a local network of community members and engaging with them regularly makes them more willing to work towards a goal and more likely to succeed. The community members will work towards addressing or solving an issue. During the process, they improve their knowledge and problem solving skills. Community engagement creates several opportunities for discussing concerns that might go unnoticed on normal occasions. Today is also commemorated as National Pediatrician Day in US. Although not officially recognized, this day ensures these specialized doctors get their due. After all, pediatricians, who get their name from the derivation of two Greek words that mean healer of the children, care for arguably the most important members of the society, our children. They deserve a day that honors their contribution to the healthcare too. While ancient scholars, including Aristotle and Hippocrates, recognized that children and adults need different treatments, traditional medical professionals cared for children and adults. A form of pediatrics reportedly existed in ancient India, ancient Greece, and Byzantine Empire and Persia. The first step towards separating child and adult care was a specialized center for children called the Hospital des Enfants Trouvés in the West. It was a hospital for abandoned children established in the 1660s in France. However, medicine did not catch up to those revolutionary ideas quite so fast. That is, until Swedish physician Nils Rosenstein is considered by many to the founder of modern pediatrics as medical specialty, mostly because of his treatise, The Diseases of Children and Their Remedies, published in book form in 1764. These writings, which deal with how to treat children and infants and encourage progress in child health, are considered collectively to be the first modern pediatric textbook. The early 19th century saw the first children's hospital open in France. Early pediatric care centers soon spread to the other countries through Europe and later all over the world. In the US, the first children's hospital opened in Philadelphia in 1855. The growth of pediatrics in America is attributed to Abraham Jacobi, a German pediatrician who came to New York in 1853, subsequently forming societies devoted to pediatric health and creating children's departments in New York hospitals. His practices informed other medical professionals, and pediatrics as a medical specialty was certified. The entire field of pediatricians advanced rapidly, and by 20th century, multiple specialties and subspecialties emerged as the need and interest in varied areas of child health evolves, so does the entire field of pediatrics. Today is also commemorated as Data Privacy Day. As the line between our offline and online lives continues to blur, Data Privacy Day on January 28th is a little nudge we need at the beginning of each year to make safeguarding our personal information a priority. Although we live in an increasingly digital world, most of us give little thought to data privacy. Until after our personal data has been compromised, our increased reliance on digital technologies to manage every facet of life necessities, the need to rethink what we share about ourselves and when are we share it and who are we sharing it with. Data privacy is part of the global online safety, security, and privacy campaign called Stop, Think, Connect, an initiative the National Cybersecurity Alliance, NCSA, The need for data privacy is nothing new or unique to the digital age. Our personal information has been at risk for many decades. Personal data has been collected, manipulated, and shared or sold for decades, then manipulated further for profit by banking institutions, product manufacturers, political parties, non-profit organizations, ad agencies, polling groups, airlines, grocery stores, credit agencies, and many others. Digital technologies have made the collection of personal data easier, both legally and illegally. And with 4.66 billion people in the world who are active internet users, there is an incalculable amount of unsecured data waiting to be pilfered. Data privacy is rarely at the top of anyone's daily to do list. It was probably not on your mind when you logged onto your computer, laptop, or mobile phone this morning to check your email, catch the news, check stock prices, and all other ways we routinely use the technology to manage our home and business affairs. Most of us are guilty of being complacent when it comes to safeguarding our most personal information from unseen but prying eyes. In fact, many people do not understand the difference between data security and data privacy, which may be reason why so many of us are slack about data privacy. Data privacy is not the same thing as data security, although the two are intimately connected and intertwined. The analogy we like the best that helps understand the difference describes data security like putting bars on windows to make it difficult for someone to burglarize your home. Data privacy is more like pulling down the window shades so that no one can look inside to see what you are wearing, who lives with you, what you are cooking for dinner tonight, or what movie you are watching. As end users on the technology spectrum, few among us pay attention to the data privacy beyond knowing not to share our passwords with anyone. We trust software and data service providers to be guardians of the personal data they collect and require from us in exchange for the right to use their products and services. But the personal information collected by companies today is not regarded as private by default, with few exceptions. The unpleasant truth is that most people who have access to our personal data do not need it. These digital strangers with legitimate access to our personal data are the very people we should be preventing from accessing our personal information because they do not need it. Data Privacy Day is an important wake up call for anyone who is on the grid, meaning they use any type of digital device for any reason and thinks having spam software and firewalls are keeping their data safe. So, Data Privacy Day reminds us to treat personal information like money. It has value and we need to protect it as if our lives depend on it because sometimes they do. Today is also commemorated as Catholic Schools Week in US, which begins on last Sunday in January and runs for an entire week and is celebrated from January 28th to 3rd February this year to promote exceptional education that comes with functioning as a Catholic school. Education has always been a vital part of decision making for every family and parent. And with this week long occasion, people can have a glimpse of excellent standards, formation, programs, and teachings of Catholic schools can offer in the US. This week is also commemorated as Children's Week in Philippines from January 28th to February 3rd. A week-long celebration of Filipino culture and values to instill these qualities in youngsters. It's a chance for Filipino cultural arts to shine as traditional folk tales and classic Filipino literature are transformed and presented in new ways. Storytelling, live performances, movies, other culturally intensive activities are provided for the children. Any nation's main worry is usually its children because their future dreams are dependent on them. As a result, Diosdado Macpagal, the president of Philippines, at the time established the last week of January as Children's Week to promote children's welfare and citizenship. This week is also commemorated as National Meat Week in US, January 28 to February 4th. This day is also commemorated as American Immigration Lawyers Association Day of Action in US. Deeply influenced the socio-economic environment, and American Immunity Lawyers Association, AILA, was founded to justify or justly safeguard the immigration system. AILA is an association of law practitioners and teachers of immigration law. Annually, it is organized by AILA to lobby for better immigration laws. American Immigration Lawyers Association Day of Action seeks to educate members of Congress about the issue plaguing the immigration system so that they ease the red tape and improve the infrastructure that supports immigrants in the country. Today is also commemorated as Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day in US. As we all are excited to prospect of its contribution to easing our finances, taxation has been around for several thousand years. Even Jesus paid tax according to the Bible. Tax is very important for running any country, but even more so is the tax credit that can come in a time to help pull families out of the financial crunch. Paying taxes is one more important way of showing a deep sense of patriotism to your country, as taxes help the government to run smoothly and to be able to serve everyone better. Taxes help to ensure the management and sustainability of the roads upon which you travel. The creation of parks, libraries, and other incentives and generally funded the bulk of government policies aimed at improving citizens' standard of living. The first historical evidence of an organized system of taxation was in Egypt around 3000 BC. Evidence of this has been found in several historical sources, and it was mentioned in the book of Genesis, where Pharaoh was said to send out commissioners to collect one-fifth of all grain harvest as tax. Taxation has evolved ever since then to include individual income tax, corporate tax, property tax, sales tax, payroll taxes, capital gain taxes, and many more. Today is also commemorated as Lego Day in US. These colorful plastic bricks known as Lego have entertained children and adults around the world for nearly 70 plus years. Lego is used to make toy buildings, vehicles, creatures, machines, anything imaginable, and they can be taken apart and put together as often you would like. That means endless creative play celebrates these incredibly ingenious and enriching toys on National Lego Day on January 28th. Today is also commemorated as National Bible Sunday in US. And today is also commemorated as National Blueberry Pancake Day in US. Pancakes are great, but pancakes dotted with juicy, nutritious blueberries are even better. Blueberries are super rich in antioxidants and are one of the only native North American fruits that we still eat today. These little wonders are packed with nutrients and have been linked to the health benefits, including lower blood pressure, improved insulin response, and reduced risk of cancer. And combined with pancakes, blueberries can take your breakfast from decent to delicious. So try dropping some into the batter as soon as it hits the pan and complement the pancakes with some butter, homemade blueberry syrup, and freshly chopped berries. Today is also commemorated as National Daisy Day in January, on January 28th in US. Just because daisies are a common flower doesn't mean that they aren't special one. Daisies are native to Northern Europe but can be found in North America, Australia, Africa, South America, and even Iceland and Greenland. The word daisy comes from the Old English language days eye because its petal blossoms at dawn and shut at dusk. What is considered a nuisance member of the weed family can also be used to supplement gardens and yards. So let's celebrate the tenaciously beautiful daisy every year on January 28th. Today is also commemorated as National Kazoo Day in US. It all began when Joyful Noise kazoo band member Chaplain Willard Run founded the day in 1983. National Kazoo Day is meant to celebrate all the ways that playing and listening to the kazoo bring happiness to people of all ages. So on January 28th, celebrate by listening to kazoo bands or by playing your own. Today is also commemorated as Pop Art Day in US, which is celebrated annually on January 28th. In the aesthetic pleasures encapsulated in the world of arts, researchers have found that the art has a way of improving reading and statistical abilities. We sure know that art is transcendental, and we all love to have it on our walls, clothes, desks, and all around us. We are all, in our own way, beautiful works of an art. Art is life, it is all around us. If we would just like a moment to look, it is the rising sun each morning and the setting of the same. It is in the stars as they twinkle in the bright night sky, the little kids who run across the road, the young farm girls who sit on a stool, slowly milks her cows, the proud sailor who poses in his uniform, and so on around the world, around us. Art has existed since the time of prehistoric man, with engravings and drawings of their day to day lives, hunts, animals, symbols, and events on cave walls, and so on. Today is also commemorated as Rattlesnake Roundup Day in US. So gear up to go into the wild and do some rattlesnake hunting. The rattlesnakes got their name because of their tail tip, which features a segmented rattle that produces a buzzing sound when they vibrate. Rattlesnakes are beautiful creatures, but they can be very poisonous and their toxin fatal. Snakes have been an avowed enemy of man. Some species of snakes have such powerful venom that can kill a man within minutes, while others can be quite harmless. Research has found that the snakes do not actively prey on humans or pose a major threat aside from being big constrictors. They would rather run away from humans and would not attack except when they are the animal has led to the hunt and kill on sight that characterizes our relationship with snakes even till today. Rattlesnake bites can be very fatal, requesting treatment within 30 minutes of the bite. Death can occur within 6 to 48 hours. Rattlesnakes can be found as they mostly hide in the humid shelter place. They can be found under logs, heavy shrubs, or wood piles, building foundations or rocks. Whether genes protect against rattlesnake bite depends on the thickness and how close the genes are to the skin. It is better to wear tall leather shoes because snakes' fangs can rarely penetrate the leather. Certain cultures in Africa, Egypt, and India worshipped snakes in ancient times, and even now there are about 3,000 breeds of snakes, of which 600 are venomous and 200 are deadly to humans. Snakes rely on heat from the sun or other light sources to warm up and regulate their body temperature. Snakes do not have eyelids, but rather a thin membrane attached to the eye called brally to protect them. Their jaws are flexible and loosely hinged, allowing them to swallow prey bigger than their heads. In a city such as Sweetwater, the event has gone on to be an integral part of their history and heritage. It binds generations of their people together, increasing internal cohesion. The event rose as a result of overreaching actions of snakes killing livestock and pets. Although the event has continued for years, there is always a steady amount of rattlesnakes found, highlighting a need to prevent a population explosion of these venomous reptiles. Finally, today we are commemorating Thank a Plugin Developer Day in US. This day is intended to honor plugin developers and their contributors. Naturally, this raises the question of who or what a plugin developer is. For some of us, you certainly do not blog or on WordPress if you find yourself nodding along. It is a forgivable offense, though, because the plugin is a term we all heard of but never bothered to look up. A plugin in a nutshell, is a type of program that is developed to integrate into a WordPress site. Their goal is usually to improve the website by making it run faster or having better graphics and other such features. So, Thank a Plugin Developer Day was first declared by WordPress developer Matt Mullenweg on January 28, 2009. He purportedly instituted such a day once the number of plugins on the WordPress plugin directory has surpassed 4,000. In an appreciation post, Mullenweg thanked plugin developers for all that they have contributed to the WordPress and expressed his enthusiasm for the next 4,000 plugins. In 2003, Mike Little and Matt Mullenweg dreamed of and founded WordPress. The third version of WordPress was published in May 2004, including support for a new concept known as a plugin. Ryan Boren, an early WordPress contributor, came up with the idea. He devised a mechanism that allowed developers to write their own custom codes and integrate them into specific WordPress events or features. This was especially innovative for non-technical folks because they could simply enable or disable these plugins at will. WordPress launched its plugin directory in 2005, and as of 2015, there are over 2,000 plugins available. WordPress is still at the forefront of blogging, powering over 28% of all blogs on the internet. Mullenweg was dubbed the Blog Prince by Power Magazine in February 2009, as WordPress saw a daily increase of roughly 15,000 new blogs. This demonstrated that the blogging era was far from over, just the contrary. WordPress has crossed the 50 million mark by July 2011, since it was powering over 50 million blogs all over the world. Considering how much potential there is for plugin developers with that many websites. Adobe Acrobat, Adobe Flash, Java, QuickTime, and other popular plugins are just a few examples. Most of us are familiar with these names, although you may not know what they stand for. A plugin is also known as an add-on or an extension to make it easier to grasp. It improves the functions of a host website without creating any changes to the website's program. Plugins can be sold on your website or through a marketplace like ThemeForest or Code Canyon. Mullenweg recommends that users look at these plugins that they commonly use or enjoy the most and visit the developer's website in his appreciation article. By doing so, the plugin developers can be contacted or potentially get monetary compensation via PayPal and other methods. Because the world revolves around ratings, give a star rating to any of your favorite plugins in the WordPress plugin directory would be beneficial. Donations are always welcome. You can always show your support for plugin creators by mentoring them on your blog or social media profile. It's never too late to experiment with new things. Why not enroll in a coding mini course? Whether you have no prior experience or a lot of it, it appears to be growing significance as a subject. And who knows, maybe you will be to create your own plugin one day. WordPress users create 70 million new articles each month. Around 80% of the internet users are found to read blogs regularly. Around 70% of consumers says that blogs add to credibility of any commercial site. Blogs with images receive 94% more traffic than those without. More than a quarter of all websites on the internet have blogs, which is significant given that the majority of blog traffic is organic rather than purchased. There is no substitute for the wonderful fuzziness that appreciation offers to both the expresser and the express. The best part is that it doesn't take much. All you need is a grateful mindset and the ability to communicate it. A simple thank you may always make a difference. Even if the concept of plugin isn't fully formed in your mind, its significance must have been made an effect. Plugins are used all the time and they are unquestionably the ways of future. If the exponential growth in plugins is any indication, plugin developers are the individuals who make websites browsing easier. They ensure we get a seamless and smooth experience and many provide enhancements in ways we will never know. As a result, taking the time to appreciate such people is at the top of our priority list today. And thanks to the day like this, they will be never forgotten. Today is also commemorated as birth anniversary of Lala Lajpat Rai, who was born on 28 January 1865 in Punjab. He was a prominent nationalist leader who played an important role in India's struggle for freedom. He also earned the title of Punjab Kesari, or the Lion of the Punjab. He initiated the foundation of Punjab National Bank. He died on 17 November 1928 due to series of injuries. The University of Veterinary and Animal Science in Hisar, Haryana, is named after Lala Lajpat Rai. Today is also commemorated as K.M. Kariyappa Jayanti. And 28 January in Indian and world history is also celebrated, observed, and remembered for various reasons. And one of them is the birth anniversary of Kodandere Madappa Kariyappa. He was the first commander-in-chief of the Indian Army, and today we are commemorating his 124th birth anniversary. So with this, we shall conclude today's sessions and commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us. Before leaving, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night. The feedback form has been raised in the form of polls. We request everyone to quickly fill it up before leaving the platform.